Hello friends, myself Mrunmay and welcome back to my beginners playlist. In this video, we would be adding camera following function to our project in Unity. So without wasting our time, let's get started. So now you all can see here that I already have a cube as ground, a ball, that is my player, that is a sphere, a main camera and a directional light. If I run the project, I can control my player in all direction. If I hit R, I can restart the level, or even if my player goes out of the range of the ground, and again if I hit R, I can again restart the level. And it's a pretty nice project. If you guys are interested in knowing how I created this, you can watch my earlier videos. I'll be providing the link in the description below. You can also click on the I button provided up there. Now coming back to this video, we know that games are not made in only one or two objects, or they do not end up having 2 to 4 objects. There are big levels. So even we can create some levels in our game that would extend all over this whole virtual world provided to us. Now I have just added a cylinder. I'm going to rotate it in 90 degrees in the x-axis. I'm going to scale it to 0.1 from x and 0.1 from z. Here what I'm doing is I'm just making a metal pole like structure, actually a pair of metal poles which would be parallel to each other, and our player can take the sphere from the space provided in between them. Now I'm just adjusting its position. Now here I'm watching it from y-axis. Now I'm just going to add a material to it. Suppose this metal 3 here. And now again, if I want the same copy of the same pole that I created earlier, we can just copy it and paste it, Ctrl C and Ctrl V. Yeah, now here you can see that it has got some different view, and it is really hard to work in this view. So from here in layouts, you can just again select it to default. Your project will reload and again it's all back to normal. And here we have the poles that we just now created. Now just to create a different platform on the other side of the poles for our player to wait there, I'm just going to again copy the same ground that we created earlier, Ctrl C and Ctrl V again. Now have set its position, and now let us run our project once. Now we can see that we can again control our player in all the directions. We can take our player, our ball to that side of the poles. Again we can control it there also, bring it back here. If we can again hit R, again the level restarts. But yes, we also come to know that with this we can't create much larger levels. As the ball goes further, its size is also seen as decreasing, and we can't even turn the camera to see where the track is going. So there is an easy fix to this, so that our camera will follow our player. We can just drag our main camera into our player. So here the sphere is the parent and I have made the main camera its child. So yeah, now our camera will follow our player, but there is one problem and you'll see it, that is this one, that as we control our player, as our control rotates, even our camera is rotating and it does not look much nice. And we can't even understand anything, and it is not even good for games in which our player is going to rotate. In case if your player is not rotating in your game, then you can use this. But in case of such ball games wherein our players are rotating, there we need to create a new script to find the solution for it. So I have made a new script here in the scripts folder. I am going to name it as copy position, COPYPOSITION. Now let us just open our script. For me it opens in Visual Studio, for you guys it may open in any other software according to your Unity software or the version that you have installed. So wherever it opens you must see all this. Even for this script we don't need this first section, so we can just select it and press delete. Again, as in our earlier scripts, we created serialized field. In the same way here we need to create a serialized field. If you have watched my earlier videos, now you might have started understanding what does the serialized field attribute exactly do. What it does is, if we want to do some editing in the speed or the rotations or whatever our script is, there are various examples for it. If you want to do any editing, we can just edit it through the Unity inspector menu. So now here we are going to create a new variable, and the variable type is going to be transform, TRANSFORM. So now the reason behind this being transform is that if we get back to Unity editor, here if we select any of the objects, then the first by default component added to them is this one, transform one, that you can see here. It just stores the position, the rotation and the scale of the particular object. So we want our camera to follow our player, so it must copy its position, it must understand the position of our player. So our variable type is going to be transform. Now I'm going to name my variable as player position, PLAYER POSITION. Now after naming the variable, we need to give a semicolon at the end. Now whenever you guys are writing any script, you all might just remember that after some particular lines you need to give semicolons at the end, like this. And here we have created our variable for this script. Now whatever further coding we are going to do is, we are going to do that in this section below here. But before doing it, let us talk about this green line that you can see here. So this green line is nothing much important in the script. If you just delete it, there will be no difference in its execution. Everything that is in green color and starts with forward slashes is just a sentence written to understand the project easily and to keep things, to remember things in our mind. So if you are writing a big script, there are many points in it, so this function is nice to do it. Now see, if I give 2 forward slashes, it comes in green color. Again, I can write whatever sentence I want. Yeah, now moving back to coding. Now here we would just be mentioning that the script should take only the position of the object, nor the rotations, not the scale. So as they are in the transform component, we would be mentioning transform dot, we want the position to be copied, not the rotations nor the scale. So transform dot position space equals to, now we want it to be equal to our variable's position, so we would be mentioning player position dot position. Now it doesn't matter whatever name you have given to your variable, you just need to write the same name and after that dot position. So in this script what we are just telling is that first one, that is transform dot position, this position is going to be the object to which our script would be applied, equals to our variable, and our variable is going to be just our player. That means it's going to be equal to our player's position. So let us save the script and get back to Unity. Let the script get imported. And now let us first just remove the main camera from under the sphere. Now we are going to add our script to our main camera as a component. We are going to drag it to its name. You can do it in either of the ways that I have showed in my early videos. So now here I'll just minimize this, and here you can see that we have our variable and we have got a small option to insert an object. So I inserted my player in this small rectangular space provided to us, that's here in white color. And now if we hit run, let's see what happens. Now if we actually run our project, we find our camera to be inside our ball. Now yes, we can allow our ball to rotate, but the problem is that our camera has gone inside the ball and does not look good. Yeah, this is also nice in some of the games wherein the camera is inside the player. We can control our player, but if we want our camera to follow our player from wherever it was, so what we should do is we should just remove the script that we added as component to it. Now let us create a new empty object and let us drag it to the same position where our player is set. Arranging it in this way is pretty difficult because as it is an empty object, we can't exactly see that where the object exactly is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the player, and from the transform component I'm just going to see its position in the x, y and z axis. So in the x and z it's 0 and 0 respectively, and in y it's 2.09. and here we left our empty object here, but if we click there, now we can't select the empty object as it is not having any shape. So what we need to do is from here we need to click on its name, and see now our empty object again got selected. So here now I am going to make its position in the x-axis as 0, in the z-axis as 0 again, and in the y-axis I am going to make it as 2.09. Now what we are going to do is we are going to add our script to the empty game object that we just created as a component. From here, add components in the inspector menu. Here I'm going to search for its name and I'll get the script. Here again, as earlier, I would be adding our player into the small white rectangle provided to us. Now if I hit run, we see that nothing much special happens. Actually, nothing happens. What here the problem is that just our empty object is following our player, that is following the position of the sphere, but camera is not following to any one of them. So to make our camera follow them, what we are going to do is we are going to make the empty game object the parent and the main camera its child. So as earlier when we added our main camera to our player, as our camera was following the player but it was just revolving around the player. So here what is happening is our player is rotating but main camera is following the empty game object that we just added, and the empty game object is just copying the position of our player, but it's not at all rotating. So see, now our function is working very nicely, and I really like this function very much because due to this function we can just make bigger levels very easily and even This function does not take much time. It has a small script. When I was creating my first balance ball game, when I created the restart function, the add controls functions, I just thought that my camera can't follow the ball. But yeah, I find its solution and I really like this. So see, if we move the empty game object, our camera also follows it here in the scene view also. So now after adding the camera following function, again we can move the camera up and down, sideways. We can also rotate it. We can change its perspective. And then also if we run our project, we can control it in all directions. Our camera follows our player. We can hit R and restart the level. And yes, if you later thought that the camera must be seen from this side, so you don't need to remove all of these that we did in this video. You can just change the perspective of the camera. So now in later videos we will be creating big levels that would extend all over all this virtual world, and we will be also adding various types of materials to make it look more attractive. With this we come to an end of this video. If you got to learn something new, write it in the comments below. If you have any doubts related to this, you can freely ask it in the comments. Make sure you like and share my video. Also subscribe my channel. Also press the bell icon and select all for more such videos. In the next part, we would be adding collision restart function to our project in Unity. That means whenever our ball falls down, we would keep a object below, and whenever our ball collides to it, the level will restart. Okay then, bye guys.